I've spoken about Barry Schwartz's wonderful book called The Paradox of Choice. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. It's great reading. And the paradox of choice, you ask yourself, first of all, what that paradox is. Well, start at the point where most of us, I think, begin, which is the assumption that the more choice we have, the happier we'll be. If I have more things to choose from, I'm richer in choices and therefore happy. But the reality is quite the opposite. The more choices we have, the more anxious we get, the more stressed we are, the more unhappy we are with the choice that we eventually make. So you go to your closet and you open it and you decide what to wear. Well, if you have 10 shirts, it's a more stressful decision than if you have one. Just saying that. Hopefully my wife isn't listening. If you go to the supermarket to buy ice cream, well, it used to be simple. You'd say, I would like ice cream, which you knew in your mind meant chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry. Maybe there were a couple of competing brands. But now when you go to the market, there's a whole row in the frozen section just of ice cream. And you can get ice cream made from milk, low-fat milk, non-fat milk, milk substitutes, cashew milk, aloe vera milk, all these different products and different ice creams. Do you want gelato? Do you want ice cream? Who knows? Some of them are called frozen products because they can't actually call themselves ice cream. But what happened to the simplicity of going up to the shelf and saying, I would like, seeing it, getting it? Now we go away wondering, after a much longer time than we anticipated spending in that aisle, if we got the right thing. Take that to education. Take that to what college your kids are going to choose. Take that to where you're going to live. Take that to the schools in your local area, the car you'll choose. As I said, all these choices that we make are now based on a multitude of choices, which in essence makes all of us wonder if we make the right choice most days of our lives. Well, how interesting that right now there's a different kind of paradox. The paradox is that at this point in our lives, in most countries, the number of choices have shrunken dramatically. We go to the market, we have to choose what is in front of us for the most part. We decide what to do with our day. We decide where to go. Well, it's not the number of choices that we had before. Seeing people, it may not be an option at all. What we eat depends on what we have in the fridge or pantry, or maybe what family members are bringing over to our house later in the day. Eating out at restaurants, probably not an option at all for most people. Going places, the world's changed. The world's changed certainly at this point in our lives, but maybe there's a richness in the loss. Maybe instead of having those stresses, we go to our pantry and say, this is what I have and I'll make a wonderful meal. We go to the rest of our lives with the same approach, which is, I don't have to look at what's lacking. I get to see what I have and be content with what I have. There's a phrase about that came around 2,100 years ago. It's a phrase from Jewish literature called Pirkei Avot, which means the lessons of those who came before us, actually literally the lessons of our fathers or ancestors. And it says, happy is the person who is content or happy with his or her lot. So that's a great way to think about today, to be content with what we have, the experiences and the choices that are each and every one of our lot.